Developing now, the search continues for whoever was responsible for chaos in the streets of downtown Orlando on Halloween night. Fox 35 with exclusive video of people running for their lives. Orlando police say a 16-year-old was arguing with someone on social media when the two saw each other downtown. Well, that feud was brought to the streets. The 16-year-old and 3 innocent bystanders were hurt. Earlier in the night, police say 3 other people were shot near Lake Eola in a separate incident, including a 13-year-old. Orlando police are still searching for the shooter in both of these cases. Local community leaders and activists want to send a message to our teenagers that violence is not the answer. And community activist Bishop Kelvin Koberis, a good friend of ours with Koberis Ministries International, is joining us this morning. We always love talking to you. How are you, Bishop?
Good morning, Amy. How are you?
Very good, thanks. I know it's disheartening. Every time we hear a story like this, we had the 2 teenagers who shot at some Orlando police officers in downtown Orlando just a couple of weeks ago. Now we have this incident, a couple of incidents downtown Orlando on Halloween. What were your thoughts when you heard about these?
Well, when I heard about these 2 incidents, it was apparent that Halloween Horror Night has spilled into the streets of Orlando. And unfortunately, while we have done a lot of work to clean up from the violence that came from influencers and gangs in the past, now you have another variant of violence that are coming from teenagers that are getting a hold of guns, just involved in activities that they should not be involved in. And then the question is, where are the parents that allow these children to be out this time of morning? So there are a lot of different things that come to mind that bring concern to me as a result of these 2 incidents.
Talk to me about some of the things that are already being done in the community to try to curb this violence. Is this gang problem that we have seen in the past, do you think that is part of the current problem we're seeing?
I don't think that the gang problem is part of the current problem, because I think the law enforcement did a great job in sweeping the streets and cleaning up a lot of those gangs that we mentioned in time past. However, we must note that the young people are influenced by whatever it is that they see as a role model. And unfortunately, some of these young people see some of those gang leaders and other people as role models, and they get themselves involved in situations that they should not be in. And unfortunately, in this hour, it is easy to get a hold of a gun in the black market in certain high-risk areas. There are teenagers who can get a hold of guns, and instead of handling conflict in a more reasonable way, they can use gun violence to deal with conflict, in which we've seen in these 2 incidents.
What about the parents, Bishop? Do you feel like in a lot of these cases the parents are just checked out, that they're just not paying attention? What's going on in the home?
I think there could be a number of things. Some of these kids come from good homes and trust their children, and now their children are out there doing things that they're surprised at. Then others of them come from homes where they are literally raising themselves, because parents are working multiple jobs and they don't have the time to keep their eyes on their teenager. And unfortunately, a child left alone will bring you to open shame. And that's exactly what we're seeing in some of these cases.
How do we teach kids to not resolve their problems with violence? And obviously you're a bishop. How do we get a lot of these kids back into the church and learning about ways to resolve their differences in safe and healthy ways?
I think that this particular pandemic has provided a new norm for all of us to go about. And that's the same way these kids are engaged on social media with cyber bullying and cyber conflict. We as leaders of the faith, leaders of education, leaders as coaches, and so on, have to find a way to infiltrate social media to provide mentoring opportunities and build relationships with these young people, because you cannot lead them to change if you don't have a relationship and a heart to go after them, to redirect their negative activity into channeling into something that is positively focused.
Gosh, you bring up such a good point. The last year and a half has been so hard on everybody, but certainly on these teenagers who can't get into these programs that keep them out of trouble. Well, Bishop Kelvin Koberis, we always love talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and thanks for all the good work you do in our community.
Thank you.